American South, he's always there, fighting for freedom over land and air. G.I. Joe!
Hello everybody, Mac here. Welcome back to the show. There is going to be a theme for the next couple of weeks, and that theme is stealth. We have some ninjas, we have some Night Force, we have some thieves. We have a lot of stealth and sneaky-based characters to take a look at. And to start that off, we are looking at this. One that I have been waiting for since Wave 2, and that is our G.I. Joe Classified Series, Jinx. Seriously, like, way back when Classified started, on the Classified website, there was like concept art of Jinx along with Chuckles and Rock and Roll, and there was the belief that they were going to be part of Wave 2, or at least they were going to come out the next year, and Jinx kept getting pushed off, and pushed off, until finally now we have her. And as an avid lover of the ninjas of G.I. Joe, this has been on my want list basically since the line started. Always want more ninjas. Remember that. Always more ninjas, Hasbro. So we finally have her, and what we have looks pretty good on the inside. On the outside, we have the new window box packaging, which, in my opinion, truthfully, is kind of boring, but I think they're going for something like the McFarlane Toys Multiverse line, where they're not using a lot of glitz around the box, they're letting what's inside sell itself, which I can get behind that. Now, not only do we just have this for the front, we do have some artwork, which I was like kind of upset when the window boxes came back into style, that we were going to lose the artwork. But we still have some artwork here on the side, which this is a great shot of Jinx ready to go. 124 in the line. Over here, we just have more window box. We have the smaller profile picture of her. We have the QR code. On back is where we have the product shot that would have been up front originally. We have some highlights of Jinx like we've had before with the figures, and they're highlighting her tattoos and her blindfold right here. I like that she's in a dojo, and I like the free weights in the back. I think that's really cool. Up top, we just have the number and the G.I. Joe logo. On the bottom, barcode and all of this mumbo jumbo. So, without further ado, let's get this open, because I know I am excited to get this open. And let's take a look at Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Series Jinx. Okay, here she is, Jinx, out of the box. And putting the tape measure to her, we can see that she is just barely at 6 inches to the top of her hair. Before we get into the looks of this figure, and I have to admit, I really do like the look of this figure, and we'll talk about that more in depth. I just want to talk about, and I was trying to find a picture of the original concept art, but I just want to talk about the original concept art of Jinx that we saw all those years ago, that I can't find it anymore, and I wish I could, because it was a very unique look for Jinx. This is definitely like a classified version of her vintage figure, especially once we put the masked head sculpt on her, that you put some sleeves on her, and this is basically what she looked like in the vintage line. Now, the original concept art, and if I'm remembering it wrong, and some of you who are watching have seen it, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, her concept art, I just remember there was such a flow to it, that like she had long robes, there were long like tassels or like long sashes hanging off of her costume. She had long hair that sort of like had like this windblown effect to it, that it was very much like movement in the wind type vibe to it. And I thought that was really cool, and I was really looking forward to that. And I was still kind of hoping that we were going to get that, and then maybe something like this would have been reserved for like the retro card series. But if we do get a retro card series version of Jinx now, I have a feeling that's going to be red arms, color in the neck and the chest piece, and just have her in like a full red gi. And that'll be cool too, but like, I really wish that we would have given that classified concept art a shot, because I thought it was really unique and looked really good for Jinx. Now, taking a look at this one, I still really dig this one. They gave her the short haircut that she had in the vintage design. Now, in the vintage figure, she only came with a masked head sculpt, but in the comics and the cartoon, whenever she took that mask off, she had short hair. It was a little bit more ruffled, a little bit more like spiky than this is, but I dig this. I think this looks really good. I think the face sculpt is fantastic. I think they did a really good job on the face sculpt. I like this sort of neutral, no nonsense look, face portrait, thank you, that they gave her. We have her tattoos on the side, which I think are really cool. They're really doing a good job, I think, on like the tattooing for the vintage line. Like, especially love the tattoos that are on rock and roll. I think those are great, but I really like the work that they put into for Jinx's tats as well. And I like how they didn't finish it like just on the bicep, that it comes down onto the forearm and very much gives you the impression that the tattoo continues underneath the wraps. I do wish that somewhere, because they didn't do it on Snake Eyes and they didn't do it on Storm Shadow, and that's because, you know, they're covered from head to foot, that if they were going to give us a ninja that isn't totally covered, that somewhere, whether it was on this bicep or they put the tattoos over here and put it on this bicep, or even have it peeking out from underneath the wraps, that they would give her the ARAH tattoo somewhere on her. And I think it's typically right here. So even if it would have been something where like this arm didn't have wraps and you could see the ARAH tattoo on there, I think that would have been real cool. I'm just real antsy to see like a figure with the tat on them. They didn't do it for Snake Eyes, although he has branding on the outside of his uniform. I thought with Storm Shadow it would have been cool if you could have pulled the bracers off and the tat would have been there, but I'll stop on that now. I like the look of her uniform, of her gi right here, how we have the dragon right here etched onto the chest of it. And this I like as well, that the folds of the robes aren't center. It is very much like she folded this over and then she folded this over and then she tied it off, so that like where the seam comes down isn't perfectly center. It is running more off to the side like it would in real life. I really dig that. Her sash right here is a very soft rubber, so it will move and get out of the way if you need it to. And then the legs here, the legs I honestly thought were going to be reuse. This is Vipra, who was also Akiko from the legs were also used for Akiko in the Snake Eyes movie line, and they were used for the blue female ninjas. Then when I first saw Jinx's legs here, I thought it was a reuse of these legs, just modified to be pinless, but we can see that there is a difference, and these are original legs for Jinx. I feel like this entire figure is original, and that's something else that I really love that they did for her, that there's not much, if any, reuse at all, because even the arms I don't think are reuse from anybody. No, I'm pretty sure this whole thing is original, and I really dig that. And you can see that there's even the folds in the robes back here. Now this piece on the bottom is a separate piece, so it kind of moves independently from the torso pieces. So you do have to sort of line it up, because I don't know if you noticed in the box, but like none of this matched up. But it's very easy to move it and get it positioned to where you want to. I like how we have the darker coloring coming down on the outside of her uniform. I think that is very cool. The thigh swivel sticks a little. There we go. Get it lined up. I think that looks cool. It adds a splash of color to it. And I love the mixing of like the red, the brown, or the maroon, whatever you want to call it, and the black. I think this looks great, giving me very much like Daredevil, Elektra vibes. And we will see these two together in the size comparisons at the end. Also, such good paint applications on here. No overspray in the face. The face looks fantastic. Eyes facing forward. Really love that. And just no paint app issues at all on the rest of the figure, making her look very sharp, very clean, very precise. Love it. Now, let's take a look at the articulation, that her head will do a full 360 spin. She can look up really well, and it's probably because of this long neck piece that she has. She can look down, kind of. She has some tilt side to side. I feel like it goes that way better than it goes this way. Arms will do a full 360 spin. We have a butterfly joint right there. A shallow butterfly joint, but a butterfly joint nonetheless. The arms will come up just a little over 90. We have a bicep swivel, We have double jointed elbows with some really great travel, and we have wrists that swivel and they hinge up and down. Her fists hinge up and down, and her weapon wielding hands hinge up and down. I really like that. So let's get her arms up out of the way, and you can see that we have this ab cut right here that she can do. Whoop, let me grip that. See what I mean? How all three of them are sort of moving independently of each other. Let me grab that bottom piece, that she can get her full 360 spin right there. There's really no back. There's really no forward. There's really not much side to side. That is all done by the ball joint at the waist right here, that she can go back. She can go forward, some side to side, and also a full 360 at the ball joint as well. I don't know if it's this piece that is interfering with it, or if she just doesn't have much movement in the torso, which for a ninja character, you typically want to have as much movement as you can. So, drop down hips will come out to the side, almost to 90. Legs will come forward very well. Legs will go back, okay. And as you saw before, we have that thigh cut. We have double jointed knees with some decent travel, but they don't come all the way up. They're a little chonky down in here. We do have a boot cut at the, I don't know if those are supposed to be wraps or if that's just like the loose material, but we have a boot cut right there. Ankles will rock back fairly well. Ankles will rock forward real well. We have a forward-facing pin, foursome rocker, and just flat bottom feet, no treads right there. Out of the box, Jinx comes with a pair of clenched fists, and she also has two weapon-wielding hands. So something that I almost forgot to point out, one of the things that I really like is on these weapon-holding hands, you can see this finger is extended a bit for a trigger finger, so that if you have spare firearms, you can put a gun in her hand, and she can get her finger in the trigger guard right there. Let's just work that around. There we go. Because Jinx does use firearms. She is trained in the use of firearms. As a matter of fact, in one of the more recent story arcs she was used in when they were infiltrating, she was part of the infiltration team on Cobra Island. I think it was her, Helix, Scarlet, and CoverGirl, and she was laying down some firepower. So it's really cool to see that they included that she can pack some heat if you want her to. So in addition to extra hands, Jinx does have another head sculpt right here, and we can just pop that off. You can see we have our dumbbell joint right there, and then we just pop the other one on. It did pop. You probably didn't hear it, but this looks good too. It's kind of weird just having like this sort of like balaclava going on up here with nothing connecting it to the rest of the suit and just a bare neck. But I do like having the ninja masked head sculpt for her, especially since this is, sort of like her vintage look right here. So another headgear accessory that Jinx comes with is this, and this is, of course, her blindfold. And I'm just going to be straight up honest, I think this trope is ridiculous. Even when I was a kid and this was coming into popularity of like the blind swordsman or the blind thief or the blind ninja or anything like that, where like somebody just willingly cuts off their sight because they think it gives them an edge. I hated that trope in the 80s when it was becoming popular. I hate it now. I think it's kind of ridiculous. Now, this is made of a very, very soft rubber, so there is some stretch to it. So you can just really pull it down over top. It rolls a little bit. You have to straighten it out. And there we go. Jinx has her blindfold on. Now, something that I thought is cool about this is that if we bring it up and just seat it around her forehead right there, how 80s Cobra Kai looking is this? That she just has a headband on. And that, I think, I might use. That's kind of cool. Now, something else that I noticed, and you may be noticing it already, that I thought her choker here was part of the sculpt with her neck. But this is actually a separate piece that comes off. I didn't realize that until I was swapping out her head portraits, her head pieces right there, that you can adjust that. That is not attached to the neck. I thought it was part of the sculpt, but you can move that up and down, slide it around if you want. And here she is with the ninja mask on and the blindfold. You can put it on either head sculpt if you want. Now, taking a look at her accessories, she comes with a katana, which is something that her vintage figure did not come with. And this isn't anything new. We've seen this before. This has shown up in the classified Snake Eyes Origins figures. This was Snake Eyes' sword. We've seen this a couple of times, I think. I know we saw this for another figure. I can't remember for who. But we have a sheath and a katana right here that... This looks cool. I like this sculpt. I don't mind that they keep reusing this. I like how they put that ridge line to sort of like give the wave of the tempered steel along the blade. I really dig that. The handle is just a standard brown, nothing special there, but it looks good on her that the peg right here will fit on the back, and it's a nice tight fit and will just go there coming off of her shoulder. Now, it does, I'm being pedantic here, but it is supposed to go this way with the curve down. I know a lot of people will do it like that, and that's fine. That's your prerogative, but it is supposed to go with the curve down. It's not even supposed to go on the back. Truthfully, it should be here like this, curved that away. And I do wish they would start making some of their ninja characters with the sword down here on the hip. I know the new Storm Shadow we're getting has 2 swords down here on his hip, but like just having one tucked into a belt or something would be really cool for just that traditional look. And finally, the last piece that we have to take a look at, yes, she doesn't have very many accessories, is her double-headed glaive right here. Now, I believe they called it a glaive. It's called something else, and I can't remember what the name of it is, but I think it being dual-headed is fantasy, like pure Dungeons and Dragons and 80s ninja and all of that, but I don't care because it does look really cool. I think they did a really good job of doing a recreation of the vintage weapon in classified form. I always loved that for Jinx, that she had this very unique looking weapon among the ninjas, made her stand out, not just because she was female, not just because she was decked out in red, but there was also this. Jinx was a really cool figure when she came out, and I really, like, not just because she was a ninja, but just like something about her really spoke to me. I really loved having her in the line. I really love that they recreated this. And this does fit into her hands very well. She has 2 gripping hands so that you can get these 2-handed grips with the staff weapon. Oh, get in there. Like so. Really cool. Looks really good. Love this thing. And now for size comparison, here she is beside the Hasbro G.I. Joe Classified Series version 1 Snake Eyes and the Mezco 112 Collective Storm Shadow. Now, I know I don't do a lot to like promote channel memberships and everything, but every month there is a members exclusive. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because this month it's this figure. It's Storm Shadow. This is worth taking a look at. Like, I was really having fun doing the review of this one, and I think he's fantastic. I think he looks great. He's up now, members only to view. It's only $1 a month. Like, even if you just like log in for a month just to watch this and then, you know, sign back out, fine, whatever. But this one's definitely worth taking a look at. Here she is beside Hasbro Marvel Legends Hand Ninja. I use these for the red ARAH Ninja and Daredevil Elektra. Here she is beside the Valaverse Action Force Desert Rat and Warpath Eclipse. Here she is beside Lanyard Toys City Hunter Predator and Xenomorph Drone. Here she is beside Mattel Masters of the Universe Masterverse New Eternia Battle Armor He-Man and Masters of the Universe movie Skeletor. Here she is beside NECA Toys Dungeons & Dragons Warduke and Grimsword. And finally, here she is beside Airborne and me from the G.I. Joe Steel Corps. So you know I love my classified, so you know I love my ninja, and I told you at the beginning of this video that this has been one of my most anticipated figures for the classified line. So of course, I love this figure, but in all seriousness, this is a fairly solid figure. I can understand some people being a little upset that there's not a whole lot as far as accessories go, because typically the classified series really like decks out their guys, their figures in gear. And Jinx here just has her 2 weapons. But don't forget, she also has interchangeable hands, which classified figures don't always come with. And she has the 2 head sculpts, which classified figures don't always come with. And she does have the blindfold, as well as, like, you know, the katana and the glaive. So I get if you're upset that she doesn't have as much gear as some of the other ones do, well, as most of the other ones do, but I feel like they did compensate with her by giving her just a few other bits and bobs, a few other pieces of kibble to round her out. Also, I don't think it's a bad thing that sometimes less is more. Like, I can't think of anything else that you could give Jinx, really. Like, she never had a bow like the other ninja did. The katana is, as far as I know, a deviation from the norm, where typically she usually just has the glaive. And I think the katana is a nice addition. I like giving her, like, you know, a close range weapon in addition to that reach weapon right there. And the tattoo work on her arm is fantastic. I like that they put her dragon on her gi again. The only other thing that I can think is that, like, I do wish she had an ARAH logo on her arm somewhere. I just want one of these ninja to have an ARAH logo on their arm somewhere. And also, I think the more that I think about it, I don't mind her being sleeveless. But the more that I think about it, I do wish that there was some red underneath her robe and going up her neck. Having the ninja head mask, or having the ninja mask on, and then just having like the bare neck and the bare chest, or not the bare chest, but like the flesh tone on the chest. Like, I wish that was all red going up to meet the masked head sculpt. Other than that, I am really happy with this figure. Like I said, I do think the blindfold gimmick is kind of played out, should have stayed in the 80s. I get it, she trained with the blind master, and even if she did something like that just for training, but she's not going to do that in battle. And if you want to set her up in like a training montage or something where she has that on and she's with Snake and Storm Shadow, that's cool. It's your figure. Do what you want. But for me, I think it's kind of ridiculous. That, I think, actually came out of the G.I. Joe movie. I think that's the first time that she started doing the blindfold thing. I can't recall her doing that before. I don't think she did it in the comics at all. It's going to be very interesting to see if they do a retro card version of Jinx where they just paint her arms and her chest and her neck red to match up with her vintage look, and then they could just pop the ninja mask head on there. It would also be very interesting to see if they came out with another version of her that was more in line with the concept art that I was talking about at the beginning of the video, because I really dug that. And quite honestly, I think if we could find like a red robe, a red cloth robe with a wire in it, and put it on her, I think we could replicate that. I don't know where I would find one though that would work, but that could be really cool. This figure was a long time coming. I'm very excited to get her, and she's going to definitely fill like a Jinx-shaped hole in the ninja team on my shelf. And now, if we could only get a 6-inch figure of another Jinx. Hello, and don't go yet. Before you do, please remember to do all the YouTube things. Like, share, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. If you already are a subscriber, you rock. If you like what we do here and you want to help the channel grow, please consider becoming a YouTube channel member or a Coffee monthly subscriber, where for $1 a month you can get access to member benefits like our monthly membership video. This month it is the Mezco 112 Collective Storm Shadow. So until next time, my friends, play well, stay safe, stay healthy, and as always, thank you for watching.